Have you ever felt like your entire world was crumbling around you? Like everything you built was being reduced to rubble right before your eyes? There's a moment in every person's life when they find themselves standing in the wreckage of what used to be. Maybe it's a relationship that shattered, a career that collapsed, a dream that died, or a version of yourself that you can no longer recognize in the mirror. But here's what most people don't realize. Sometimes being pulled from the wreckage isn't about being saved from destruction. It's about being saved through it. What if the wreckage wasn't the end of your story? What if it was the beginning? What if everything had to fall apart so something extraordinary could be built in its place? This is a story about divine timing, about the moments when life doesn't make sense, when the pain feels unbearable, when hope seems like a distant memory. But it's also about what happens when you re-pulled from the wreckage at exactly the right moment, not a second too early, not a second too late. The wreckage always starts with a moment. One single moment when everything changes. A phone call you'll never forget. A diagnosis. A betrayal. A loss so profound it steals the air from your lungs. The moment when the foundation you stood on cracks and crumbles beneath your feet. And in that moment, you realize something terrifying. You have no control. All your planning, all your preparation, all your careful construction of the life you thought you'd live, none of it matters now. You're standing in ruins, surrounded by the broken pieces of what used to be your reality. The job you thought was secure, gone. The person you thought would always be there, gone. The confidence you once had, shattered. This is where most people believe the story ends. But they're wrong. Because the wreckage is never the final chapter. It's just the most painful one, the one that strips away everything comfortable, everything familiar, everything you are clutching onto so tightly. And while you're standing there, covered in dust and debris, wondering how you'll ever recover, something else is happening, something you can't see yet. Divine timing is already at work. Before the wreckage, we live with a dangerous illusion. We believe we're in control of our lives. We make our plans, set our goals, and convince ourselves that if we just work hard enough, if we're just smart enough, we can protect everything we've built. But life doesn't care about our plans. The universe operates on a different timeline, one that we can't see or predict. And sometimes the very things we're holding on to so desperately are the things that need to be destroyed. That toxic relationship that felt like love. It was suffocating your growth. That career that defined your identity. It was limiting your potential. That version of yourself you were so attached to. It was keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be. The wreckage doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. There's a phase after the initial collapse that nobody talks about enough. It's the dark night of the soul. The period where you're not dead, but you don't feel alive either. You're just existing in the aftermath, numb and broken, going through the motions while your heart feels hollowed out. This is when doubt creeps in like a poison. You start questioning everything. Did I deserve this? Am I being punished? Is there even a purpose to any of this suffering? The silence feels deafening. You pray for a sign, for guidance, for someone to pull you out of this nightmare. But the rescue doesn't come. Not yet. Because here's the truth about divine timing. It rarely makes sense in the moment. While you're in the wreckage, begging to be pulled out, the universe is waiting. Not because it's cruel, but because you're not ready yet. There are lessons you need to learn in the darkness. Strength you need to build in the struggle. A version of yourself that can only be forged in the fire of your own destruction. The turning point comes when you stop fighting. When you finally exhale and admit, I can't do this on my own. I don't have the answers. I surrender. Surrender isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing you can do, because surrender means you're finally willing to let go of the illusion of control. You're finally willing to trust that maybe, just maybe, there's a bigger plan at work. When you surrender, something shifts. The grip of fear loosens. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? And that's when the divine timing starts to reveal itself. Not in grand gestures or miraculous interventions, but in small, subtle ways. A moment of clarity, an unexpected connection. A door that opens just when you thought all doors were closed. And then, at exactly the right moment, you feel it, to hand, reaching down into the wreckage. It might come in the form of a person who shows up at exactly the right time, with exactly the right words. It might come as an opportunity that appears out of nowhere, one that would have never existed if everything hadn't fallen apart. It might come as an internal awakening, a sudden realization that you're stronger than you ever knew. This is the rescue, but it doesn't look like you imagined. You thought being saved meant going back to how things were. But divine timing never takes you backward. It only moves you forward. The hand that pulls you from the wreckage doesn't restore your old life. It lifts you into a new one, a better one, a life you couldn't have even imagined when you were standing on that false foundation that needed to crumble. The person you lost. They were blocking you from meeting the one who will truly see you, the job that disappeared. It was preventing you from discovering your real purpose. The version of yourself that died in the wreckage. It was a caterpillar that needed to dissolve so the butterfly could emerge. This is divine timing. Painful, perfect, and always right on schedule. When you're finally pulled from the wreckage, you face a choice. You can try to use the old broken pieces to rebuild what was. Or you can gather new materials and build something completely different. Something stronger, something more authentic. Something that reflects who you've become through the fire, not who you were before it. Here's what's beautiful about being pulled from the wreckage. Once you experience it, you start to see the pattern everywhere. You look back at your life and realize this wasn't the first time. Every ending that devastated you led to a beginning that transformed you. Every loss that broke your heart made room for something more aligned. Every failure that humiliated you redirected you toward your true path. Divine timing has been at work your entire life. You just couldn't see it from inside the wreckage. But now, standing on the other side, you can trace the thread. How that rejection led to this opportunity. How that heartbreak led to this love. How that rock bottom led to this breakthrough. None of it was random. None of it was punishment. All of it was preparation. The hardest part about divine timing is trusting it while you're still in the wreckage. When you can't see the way out. When the pain feels endless. When everyone around you seems to be thriving while you're barely surviving. In those moments, trust feels impossible. But trust isn't about knowing how or when you'll be rescued. It's about knowing that you will be redeemed. It's about believing that your story doesn't end in the wreckage, even when that's all you can see. And here's what you need to remember. Your timing is not their timing. Your rescue will come exactly when you need it, not when you want it. Divine timing is never early, and it's never late. It's always, always exactly on time. If you're in the wreckage right now, I need you to hear this. You will be pulled out. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, but at exactly the right moment, the moment when you're finally ready for what comes next, you will feel that hand reach down, and it will lift you into a life more beautiful than anything you lost. Everything you're going through, every tear you've cried, every night you've laid awake wondering if you'll survive this, it's all part of your transformation. The wreckage isn't your ending. It's your becoming. And divine timing is working behind the scenes, orchestrating your rescue with perfect precision. So surrender to the process. Trust the timing. And know that you're not buried in the rubble, you're planted in the soil. And what's about to grow from this darkness will be extraordinary. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below sharing your story. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because we're rebuilding a community of people who understand that sometimes you have to be broken to become whole. Thank you for watching, and remember, your rescue is coming. Trust the timing.